Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Lilley. I'm a singer-songwriter and poet. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button down in the corner and then click the like button to be notified for all of my future videos, especially if you like the content that I'm putting out. And yeah, this video I actually posted on Facebook about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not exactly sure. I'll put it down at the bottom of the screen right there. It's Suicide Awareness Month, and I think it's super important that we tell our stories, and this is my story. I'm not sure if you have a story too, but if you do, don't be afraid to tell it. That's the point of this whole thing. Don't be afraid to tell your story, tell who you are, where you came from. There's a Bible verse that says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And I wanted to encourage y'all to share your story, and that starts with me. Down in the description, there's also going to be other resources about mental health awareness and suicide awareness, as well as some other organizations that you can get involved with or donate to if that's something that you're interested in doing. Yeah, so that's it. Check out the video and let me know what you think and tell your story, and let's be honest together. Thanks.
Hi Internet. So today is World Suicide Prevention Day. And I figured it was time to tell my story because, why not? We all have a story to tell. So yeah, I found myself recently posting a lot of things with the hashtag suicide survivor at the end of it. Really trying to bring a little bit more awareness to something that people might be feeling and aren't willing to talk about. It was something that I struggled with for a long time because I myself am a suicide survivor. When I was between the ages of 10 and 15, I suffered from very, very deep depression. I don't know if it was clinical or anything like that, but I definitely was the lowest I'd ever felt in my life, period. Like, bar none. I've never felt lower than between the ages of 10 and 15. I was bullied in school, I was a small but still round boy who wasn't good at sports, and my voice hadn't dropped yet, and I liked to sing, and that wasn't the ideal kind of person to be going to public school in Canarsie, Brooklyn, or going to an all-boys Catholic school up in the Northeast Bronx, where everything is about sports. And, I got called every name in the book. I was bullied for my clothes, my voice, my hair, my book bag. It felt like torture. It felt like, is this really about to be the rest of my life? And I remember that it must have been when I was 11. I can't remember exact days. I don't celebrate the anniversary of this, but it must have been when I was 11 because we still lived in Brooklyn and I moved to the Bronx in the middle of 6th grade. And I came home, I was all by myself. I went into the bathroom and I took the family Tylenol. There was Tylenol in the cabinet. It was about 3/4 of the way full, and I downed it. I just finished it. And it wasn't just like the regular Tylenol bottle. It was the Costco size. Any way you look at it, I should have died. And I was completely convinced that was the right thing for me to do at that point because I could not go another day enduring whatever it was I was enduring. I was upset. I was lonely. I felt like no one understood me, and that absolutely nothing was going to change. And this was the only thing that I could control that would cause something in my life to change and make it better. I took the Tylenol and I went to bed, and I woke up the next day with a horrible headache, which is ironic considering that I took Tylenol. But I woke up the next day and I had a horrible headache. I'm pretty sure I puked or whatever, and my parents were none the wiser. I went back to school and everything was just as it was before, but now I had tried to do this thing and I had failed at it. I was still here, I didn't know what that meant. I was 10, I was 11. It wasn't like I was saying, oh, God wants me to be here. It wasn't anything like that. It was just, well, that failed too, like everything else. But something clicked in my head at that moment. Not at that moment, but over the course of the next couple of years. Because the thing to remember is that when I tried to commit suicide and failed, I didn't immediately become happy or lose that depression. I was depressed for another 4 or 5 years. And it didn't just magically go away. But one thing that got stuck in my head was the idea that I could hope for a better tomorrow. Now that sounds corny and cliche or whatever, but that's really what kept me going. And the thing is that hope didn't make me feel better. Hope didn't get rid of my depression. Every day I would roll out of bed and be miserable. I would do my homework and be miserable. I would sing and be less miserable, but still miserable. You know what I mean? And I would get in bed, and then the only thing I could tell myself was, maybe tomorrow will be better. And that little twinge of hope was enough to get me up the next day. Just that expectation that there's a possibility that it could change. And it was because I had seen examples like my parents, my mom, people at my church, reading the Bible, different things. I read in the Bible that Jesus himself was betrayed and ridiculed and misunderstood by the people who followed him. If Jesus was able to keep going and do what he needed to do, my 10-year-old self can, keep going the next day. And I didn't realize how important that was. The fact that even though I was still sad, I was still pushing for tomorrow. I was still trying to get to tomorrow. I was still trying to push to the next day, because it's possible that tomorrow can be better. Hope is a commodity that you can afford. Tomorrow can be better. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be the next day, but something can and will change. Don't let the circumstances that you're living in now jeopardize the bright, bright future that's ahead of you. Everything that you feel is valid, but so are your hopes and dreams. So are your talents and your expectations for where the world can be, how much brighter you can make it. Everything about you has value. There's value in your skin and bones. There is value in your words, in your deeds, in your actions, and your emotions. There is nothing about you that is worthless. You are valued. Find someone to talk to and hope for the next day. That's all. I guess that's all I have to say about that. That was my story. So always tell your story.